Welcome. It is Verdict with Senator Ted Cruz, Ben Ferguson with you, and we are recording early on Sunday because I got the best phone call this morning. Senator Cruz called me and said, Ben, you're my number one. I got you a ticket. We're going to go to the UFC, and we got to get on the road to make this happen. So I got to say a big shout out, Senator, for you pulling that off. That was amazing. I don't know how you did this. I don't know how you got that ticket. But, you know, I feel you're plus one. It means more to me than I could have ever imagined.
You know, Benjamin, I've just got to say, day drinking is a really bad habit. And you're a young man. And so if you're 10 a.m. already
my
drunk
coffee,
as a skunk, confused, delusional, imagining things, I really worry how the rest of the afternoon is going to go.
It's going to be, I'm groveling in my own knowing that you got the ticket. I didn't get the ticket. I'm just going to, I just want America to know that you will be there. I will not be there as a plus one. I just want everyone to understand that just the pure sadness I have in my heart. But with that being said, we will power through.
You can take some comfort in the fact that rain is predicted in D.C. Later this afternoon. So I will be on the South Lawn of the White House for the UFC fight. But there's a very good chance that I and everyone else.
I'm doing my violin for people
drenched.
Not watching on video. Okay, I'm doing my violin.
So apparently
right
Ben is now doing visuals in what's primarily a radio and audio show. So that's a good strategy, Ben. Look,
that tells you where we are right now. My mental state. But I will power through.
So I will say, Ben, this intro is actually quite apropos of the lead story we're going to talk about, which is bitter and envy from small petty people, and also extraordinary freedom and success.
Yes.
Now, thankfully, I'm not talking about myself, but I am talking about the historic IPO this week of SpaceX and Elon Musk. And you and I both know Elon well. We have had Elon as a guest on this podcast. By the way, if you didn't listen to our interview with Elon Musk, it may be my favorite podcast that we've ever done. We did 2 episodes. If you want to go back in the archives and listen to any show, that's the one I'd put at the top of the list. Elon and SpaceX this week did their IPO, and it IPO'd at more than $2 trillion. Massive
Incredible.
IPO. And the immediate result of it is it made Elon Musk the world's first trillionaire.
Yep.
Now, that is an extraordinary threshold. To give you a sense of just how massive it is, I saw something on Twitter that is actually accurate, which is today, Elon Musk is worth more than the nation of Canada.
Yes.
And it is true that I'm sorry.
Trudeau would be very upset about that.
No. I'm sorry. That is a misstatement. Elon is not worth more. SpaceX is worth more than the nation of Canada.
Yes.
Canada's GDP is just over $2 trillion. SpaceX's valuation is just over $2 trillion. But a second tweet I saw that illustrates the magnitude of just how much Elon has accomplished was the following observation. Ben, today, you and I are closer in net worth to Jeff Bezos than Jeff Bezos is to Elon Musk.
Wow. Is this my consolation prize? Like this is you pumping me back up, right?
So look, Bezos is worth about $200 billion. That is a ton of money. You and I, if you add our net worths together, are worth $0 billion. So that is a delta of $200 billion. We're not even a rounding error. It doesn't even fall. But Elon is at 1.1 trillion. So there's 900 billion between Bezos and Elon. And listen, there's a reason about that, a reason we're going to talk about at greater length. But I think equally important is the reaction of the left, which is seething rage, hatred, envy, and avarice. They want his money. They want to seize it. They want to confiscate it. They want to control it. They want to spend it. They hate it. We're going to break that down, but I really do think it is a testament of why America is the most extraordinary country on the face of the planet and why today's Marxist left is a party fundamentally built on envy and built on hate. We're going to break that down for you today.
Yeah, it really is an incredible story. Also, for a moment, I want to talk to you about our really incredible friends at the IFCJ working right now on the ground for all those in need. From America's Revolutionary War to Israel's fight for survival in 1948, both nations have faced moments that tested their courage, yet freedom endured. In October of 1985, President Ronald Reagan delivered these remarks about America's commitment to stand with Israel.
In our talks, we paid special attention to two issues: our commitment to Israel's security and well-being, and our shared desire to move forward together toward a just and lasting peace between Israel and all its Arab neighbors. A strong, secure Israel is a shared interest.
As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews reflects on the friendship between the United States and Israel, two democracies built on faith, liberty, and hope. Sign up to receive a free USA Israel flag pin when you go online to flagpinifcj.org. That's flagpinifcj.org. All right, so Senator, you look at this story, it breaks, and immediately you could see the left. They knew when the moment happened, they were going to go all in to not celebrate that the first trillionaire lives in the United States of America, that the first trillionaire employs an incredible number of Americans in this country, and also just created a whole lot of millionaires for the first time for people that started SpaceX. We're talking about welders. We're talking about people that were on the wait staff. We're talking about people that were janitors at SpaceX. They were there early. They were able to get a piece of the pie. And there were some interviews that came out of actually talking to these people. There's a welder, for example. There was an interview with him, and he was talking about he instantly was worth about $880,000 for what he did 10 years ago when he was a welder, just a welder. He's like, I didn't know what SpaceX was. I got a job. I started welding for them, and they said, hey, you're going to get some of these options in the company. We're going to give you some stock, and now he's a millionaire. That is an amazing story. There was a janitor, same thing, that was literally house cleaning of SpaceX, and they didn't celebrate that. No. It was an orchestrated effort. Elizabeth Warren was one of those, and I want to play what she said from the back of her car. By the way, she's worth millions and millions of dollars, and this is her excitement for all those that were brought up because of SpaceX and Elon Musk. Take a listen.
Elon Musk is officially the world's first trillionaire. Think about that. We're living at a time when more and more people are just hanging on by their fingernails to survive in this economy, and Elon Musk has more money and more wealth than anyone in human history. I want to be clear. This is not just some fluke. It is a feature of a rigged economy. Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill cut healthcare for millions of Americans to give guys like Elon bigger tax breaks. The tax code rewards CEOs for firing workers and replacing them with AI. Loopholes have allowed Jeff Bezos to pay an effective tax rate lower than a Boston public school teacher. And we are left with a country where a handful of billionaires at the top pop champagne in their $300 million yachts, while working people take on even more shifts to try to pay off their student loan debt. The top 1% of U.S. earners now have more wealth than the entire middle class. We need to overhaul our tax code. We need a wealth tax. And it's about time that corporations paid their fair share. Today's marker should be a wake-up call that enough is enough. Time to make change.
Now, Senator, time to make a change. Forbes magazine back in 2019 estimated her fortune while serving her country was upwards of $12 million. That was in 19. I'm assuming she's made more money since 19. Her office tried to downplay it and say it's more around $7 million. I just wonder, is she a part of the wealth tax now?
Look, you got to understand, Marxists want to control you and confiscate everything you own.
Yes.
She is angry that Elon Musk did not make his money by using government power to confiscate the assets of others. Rather, he built companies, not one company, not two company, not even three company after company after company. Let's just take SpaceX, which is the huge driver of the biggest chunk of that success. Do you know how many millionaires became millionaires overnight this week because of SpaceX?
How many? I saw this article. It's amazing. Tell it.
More than 4,400.
4,400 millionaires. And you know what Elizabeth Warren wants to do? She wants to take a bunch of the money of all of those millionaires, by the way.
And let me ask, how many millionaires has Elizabeth Warren made? And actually, there's an answer to it. It's not zero. She has made millionaires, and they are leftists and progressives who suckle off the teat of government, who steal from you. And the left-wing NGOs that she has shoveled millions and millions of the policies she supports has shoveled, they get rich off of exploiting the system. What has Elon Musk done? I'll tell you, SpaceX, and I've been to SpaceX multiple times. It's based here in Texas. It is the most extraordinary technology company I've ever seen. They took Starbase, Boca Chica, which is the southern tip of Texas, 6-7 years ago. That was an empty beach. It was sand dunes. There were some crabs, maybe a few lizards. There was nothing there. Elon came down and built an entire city. He built a city. He built a factory. The factory is producing spaceships, one spaceship a month. The precisions are down to less than 1/10 of a millimeter. It is extraordinary what they're doing. By the way, that city, he also built housing for all of his workers. He brought in engineers. One of the amazing things I met this week with a lot of civic leaders, government leaders, community leaders, business leaders from South Texas, the Rio Grande Valley. Elon's transformed the valley. You know, it used to be 20, 30 years ago, if you're a young person in the Rio Grande Valley, most young people felt they had to leave. They had to go to Houston or Dallas or somewhere else.
There was lack of opportunities there. There was really lack of opportunity there, and that's why people left. And then he brought opportunity to a place that had none of it. I mean, that's the real story here.
Massive investment, billions of dollars of investment. And by the way, that billions of dollars of investment is not just the employees of SpaceX. It's construction jobs. It's all of the jobs, it's the tax revenue, everything. It's the kids of the employees are going to schools, they're going to churches, they're contributing to charities, they're doing Little League. The impact on the community is massive. Now, one of the things Elon told me is he said initially when they were just building it, he said it was hard to get world-class engineers, many from all over the country, to come to South Texas, which was not super well developed. One of the things he did, he built a little city for his employees, and he said their spouses, primarily their wives, didn't like being down there initially. So he built a tiki bar. And it's like a tiki bar out of the South Pacific, and they serve these like fruity drinks with umbrellas.
Yeah.
And he said the spouses like it and hang out at the tiki bar. The impact of what he built was extraordinary. Now, I'll tell you something interesting. Do you know that a decade ago, I predicted this?
I'm going to tee this up. Hold on. I got to tee this up for you. So about a decade ago, you were at one of those Atlantic events where you sit on stage, someone interviews you. I want to be clear, just to put a timestamp on how long a decade ago, Ted Cruz did not have a beard then, and his hair was just straight black. I didn't see any gray in it. And you even had an old school tie with the cross the cross stripes on it. That is how old this how long ago a decade is ago. There was no facial hair.
Ben, you're yet again showing the envy. I'm wondering if you're like a closet Elizabeth Warren, you know. But go ahead. Don't let me get into it.
So I will play for you a decade old, no beard, facial hair, pure dark hair, no gray in it. Ted Cruz saying this in an event. This is in HD, or in SD, I should say, standard definition television. That's how long ago it was. Take a listen to this.
I'll make a prediction right now. The first trillionaire will be made in space. Will be the entrepreneur who invests and makes discoveries in space that we cannot even envision. Right now we have billionaires. The prediction I'm making, the first trillionaire will be in the space exploration world, and that is a wonderful incentive for a whole bunch of folks to invest and help us develop this new and great frontier.
I mean, a decade ago, that's a pretty strong, bold prediction. It became true. I'm just mad you didn't tell me that prediction back then, because I would have put a lot of money into SpaceX. I would have found a way to invest, Senator. But I guess insider trading is only for the left.
I will say something. A decade ago, Elon Musk was not a household name. He was already having significant success. But I actually first met Elon 14 years ago. So it was when I was newly elected to the Senate. And baby senators, they stick you in a basement office. It's sort of like hazing. For the first 4 or 5 months, you're in a tiny little office in the basement before you move into a real Senate office. And when I was there, Elon came to meet me, and he just started SpaceX. SpaceX was this brand new company. And at the time, SpaceX was not allowed to bid and compete to launch Air Force rockets and Air Force satellites.
Yeah,
and so Boeing and Lockheed had it completely locked down. They were the only two contractors, and they launched all of the government satellites. And Elon's pitch to me, he wasn't saying, hey, I want to get these contracts.
Yeah.
He said, hey, let me compete. I think I can produce a better product at a lower price. I can launch the Air Force's satellites cheaper than they're paying right now, and I can do it more reliably. And I actually spoke out in favor of it, not because I wanted them to get the contract, but because I believe in competition. And that's been my approach to space and everything else. Let's have lots of competition. That helps the taxpayers. It produces better quality. So SpaceX at the time was a brand new company. And the innovation, like when I was saying the first trillionaire would be made in space, I wasn't necessarily thinking Elon Musk. I wasn't necessarily thinking Jeff Bezos. Actually, the comment I made, which is the incentive to become a trillionaire, is going to cause people to invest a lot and innovate. That's exactly what happened over the last decade. You've had multiple. The two biggest have been Musk and Bezos, but you've also got Robert Bigelow. You've got others who've invested and innovated in space because, look, the upsides, if you look at SpaceX, you got a couple of drivers of it. One is Starlink, and more than 90% of the satellites that are in orbit right now, SpaceX put up there. I mean, that's a staggering statistic, and Starlink is now giving internet connectivity all over the world. In like the most remote wilderness in Africa, you can get Starlink. That's an innovation that has improved the lives of millions. You look at SpaceX. Listen, at the time I said that, the concept of a reusable rocket, no one had really thought of that. At the time, everyone accepted you fire a rocket into the air, you launch your payload, the rocket falls into the ocean, and you dispose of the rocket. And Elon said, well, why do we need to do that? How about if we have the rocket come back and land? And everyone laughed at him and said, okay, that's crazy. It doesn't work that way. And he said, well, what if we have giant arms, chopsticks that grab the rocket out of the air, pull it down, and set it on the landing pad? And people have said, okay, you're nuts. You don't know what you're talking about. And so he just went out and did it. And he's done that over and over and over again. That's how you build a $2 trillion company. And you know what Bernie Sanders says? He says, today, Elon Musk, a trillionaire, pays the same amount into Social Security as someone making $184,500. If we end that absurdity and lift the cap on taxable income, we can make Social Security solvent for 75 years. So what does he want to do? He wants to jack up taxes.
Yeah.
His reaction is anger. Bernie Sanders also, if you look at what he tweeted, here's what he tweeted. Another $900 billion paycheck. I can't do his accent, sorry. For Elon Musk. While 60% live paycheck to paycheck. Really? This is not only grossly immoral, it is insane economics. No society can survive when one man becomes a trillionaire while the working class struggles to survive. This cannot stand. I want you to hear those words again, because they are ominous and you should hear them. This cannot stand. Bernie Sanders is saying that he intends to destroy Elon Musk. When he says, I will not allow you to be a trillionaire. You cannot succeed in the communist world. And by the way, if you think communist is too strong for Bernie Sanders, Ben, do you know where Bernie Sanders honeymooned?
I'm pretty sure it was Russia.
Yeah, Moscow.
Yeah.
And by the way, it wasn't Russia.
Because that's where everybody has on their honeymoon list when you're sitting there looking at your future bride and you're going, honey, where do you want to go? Let's go to Moscow for a honeymoon. It says no one ever.
Yeah, no, look, it is incredibly revealing. Heidi and I went to St. Thomas. Look, on our honeymoon, we wanted to walk around barefoot and drink little fruity drinks and like, get busy on the beach and just have fun and just be a newly married couple. Where'd you guys do your honeymoon?
We went to Mexico. We went to San Guatanejo, Ixtapa, San Guatanejo, and then to Cabo.
And I suspect you did the same thing. Enjoyed sun, the beach, relaxation, like
the umbrella
drinks.
Wanna... That's all that you need, right? That and sun. You're good to go.
Okay, that's like normal people. If you say, sweetheart, let's go visit the comrades in the Soviet Union.
Which,
for
by the
your
way,
honeymoon?
just to be clear, when he got married, literally, you're talking old school Russia.
Oh yeah. It was the Soviet Union. It was the USSR was the country that he honeymooned in. I don't even think Soviets honeymooned in the Soviet Union. Look, this cannot stand. They want to destroy it. I understand it's based on envy. They want to destroy it. Even if they can't take it, they just want to burn it down.
Tesla should be the icon or a god of the green religion. Like, if the Green New Deal, the green religion, if you said, who is your idol, you'd be like, what's a Tesla?
Look, for more than a decade, they've been saying that first global warming, now climate change is going to destroy all humanity. We're all going to die. We're all going to die in 12 years. By the way, that's been their mantra for 50 years, is we're going to die in 12 years. The 12 never changes. So this year, they'll tell you we're going to die in 12 years. Next year, they're going to tell you we're going to die in 12 years. In 12 years, they'll tell you we're going to die in 12 years. I don't know why 12 is a magic number. But under their basis, what they were saying is we need to all move to electric vehicles. Now, Elon didn't say, like a good comrade, I will just mandate you must all buy electric cars. I don't know where you can find them. He said, no, I'm going to go build a business and make a whole bunch of electric cars. And here's an idea. I'm going to make electric cars that are really damn cool that people actually want to buy. Listen, Teslas are
like
cool vehicles.
Like drive for you kind of cars. Yes, innovation, not green alternative energy obsession.
Look, the self-driving, the technology, the clean, elegant lines. You know, I just watched the new movie about Steve Jobs. And you look at sort of brilliant, revolutionary entrepreneurs, and Jobs was one. And you look at Apple, his appreciation for the aesthetics and simplicity. And Elon has very much the same appreciation for, you know, you look at a Tesla where they've removed almost everything unnecessary from the interior, and the interior is very sleek. You look at SpaceX, their Dragon capsule that goes to space. The inside almost looks like a Tesla. It's very simple. It's very clean. It's not old, hard industrial. There's an elegance to it. But if Bernie Sanders or AOC or any one of the other Marxist left believed what they had been saying for years, these are the authors of the Green New Deal, they should be carving Elon Musk into Mount Rushmore. Because there is no human being on planet Earth in the history
by the way,
of
that's
mankind.
the liberals are all they're going to hear from the show. I want to be very clear, 20 minutes in, is you said that Elon Musk should be carved into Mount Rushmore. That will be the headline. I just want to predict that right now, but keep going.
It may well be, although what I said is if the leftists believed what they said, they should carve him.
They should be doing it.
Because there is literally no human being who has existed in the history of humanity who has done more for electric vehicles than Elon Musk. But you know what? They hate him now. You know how he could change that? Do you know whose wealth they're not calling to confiscate? George Soros.
Oh, of course not.
No. If you're a leftist, if you pay, he's a massive billionaire. By the way, he made his money on arbitraging currency, on essentially betting and bankrupting lots of people. He made his money in a very, very cynical way, shorting the British pound and causing enormous devastation. That's quite different from how Elon made his money building companies that employ thousands of people, innovating and transforming the world. But you know what? The left loves George Soros because he funds their Marxist ideology.
Look at Plattner, who we've talked about. Plattner's biggest donors are 4 different multi-billionaires. And they'll sit up there saying no oligarchs is on their side, and those signs are literally being paid for by billionaires. That's like hypocrisy 101.
And by the way, Bernie Sanders and AOC's No Oligarch tour, they flew in private jets from stop to stop to stop. So you get off your private jet and say, oligarchs are terrible.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw, it was very funny. Bernie was doing an interview and asked, well, Bernie, how did you become a millionaire? And he said, by writing anti-capitalist books.
Yeah.
So
he was capitalism caused him to become a millionaire, which he was writing books against.
Look, there's a principle here that I think is really important for folks listening to Verdict to understand. The beauty of free enterprise is the way you succeed is by making others succeed. Let's take Tesla as an example. If Elon made crappy cars, they didn't work, they were ugly, if they were slow, they broke down a lot, nobody would buy them. And you know what? If nobody buys his cars, he doesn't make any money, he goes broke. Like free enterprise is ruthlessly efficient. If you can't solve a problem and improve people's lives, not only do you not make money, you go out of business. How do you make a ton of money? You make a product people like that is better than the alternatives on the market that people are willing to pay for and they're happy for. You look at whether it is SpaceX, whether it is XAI, whether it is Starlink, whether it is Tesla, whether it is the Boring Company. And the Boring Company is just getting started, but the ability to build tunnels, I think that's another one that he's filling a need that doesn't exist in the market. And I think for those who, in terms of connecting, say, a busy downtown where there's a ton of traffic, the ability to tunnel down and suddenly double your usable space, that is a transformational technology. Now, Ben, do you remember why he created the Boring Company?
Why was that?
Because Elon has a unifying theme with all of his companies, and it is going to Mars. He's filling a need that doesn't exist in the market. And I think for those who, in terms of connecting, say, a busy downtown where there's a ton of traffic, the ability to tunnel down and suddenly double your usable space, that is a transformational technology. Now, Ben, do you remember why he created the Boring Company?
Why was that?
Because Elon has a unifying theme with all of his companies, and it is going to Mars. And he is
By the way,
focused.
that's when we interviewed him, we talked about this, him saying getting a person to Mars was like a life dream goal of his.
Look, not just getting a person to Mars, building a civilization on Mars. Because unlike the Marxists who have all of these apocalyptic language about how climate change is going to destroy us, mind you, their solution is, so put us in charge of your life. Let us be dictators because of climate change. Elon's solution is, okay, if the Earth is going to be destroyed, I don't know if it is or not, but if it's going to be, let's go build a new civilization. And that's what he's working to do. And each of his companies, look, SpaceX, Starship is designed to actually get us to Mars, not just get humans to Mars, but get enough equipment, get enough materials that we could build a civilization. Tesla electric vehicles are designed to power transport on Mars. The Boring Company is designed because to build a civilization, to build a city on Mars, you need to dig tunnels. And so nobody was doing that. And so he built a whole company to do that. XAI, the AI will be needed to build the Mars civilization. We asked him in the interview, said, what do you want to be remembered for? And he said, getting mankind to Mars. And I asked him, I said, do you want to die on Mars? And he said yes. And
there was a long pause, by the way, which was really funny. He said on Mars, not getting to Mars, right? He wanted to distinguish that very clearly, if I remember right.
Well, what he said, what he said is yes, hopefully not on impact.
Yes, there you go.
Which I thought was quite good, and that, look, that's how you innovate with capitalism. You create a solution, and what is the reaction of the left? It is envy. And we've heard Bernie Sanders, we heard Elizabeth Warren. I want you to listen to Jimmy Kimmel to really embody the leftist envy and contempt. Give a listen.
First ever trillionaire in the history of the world. This man, our first trillionaire, the richest man in the world, is also one of the weirdest people we've ever seen on this planet. This obscenely wealthy weirdo has the ability and means to blow up the moon if he chooses, and also to put a lot of other people's money in his pockets.
You listen to that, just the disdain there. It is a coordinated effort, which goes back to my final question, Senator, and I'll make a prediction here. I believe that the Democratic Party, if they gain power again in the House, Senate, certainly the White House, they will go after Elon Musk and every one of his companies and every one of his government contracts because of what he did with Doge and the fact that he was an ally of President Trump, even though they've had their own little fights. They will move to destroy him and make sure that there's no part of our U.S. government that uses anything that he touches?
You are absolutely right, and understand these are not the Marxist of the like sit in a faculty lounge and muse abstract theories. These are the Marxists of the Stalinist kind, of the kind that go and crush their enemies. If the left takes over, if AOC or Gavin Newsom or some other leftist becomes president, you will see every single federal government agency weaponized and targeting Elon Musk. You will see them denying him licenses to launch satellites, denying him, canceling his contracts, the EPA shutting down his launches, Tesla being investigated by OSHA, by the IRS, Elon personally. They will make it their mission. This cannot stand, is what Bernie said. They want to destroy him for daring to demonstrate that free enterprise works. And I want you to think back again to what Jimmy Kimmel said, which is he makes obscene amounts of money by getting other people's money. And let me just ask a very simple question, Jimmy. How? How does he get other people's money? And he does it one of two ways. One, he does it by running a business that's very profitable. So he builds a car people really like, and they decide, I like this car better than all the other cars, and it's really good, and it's fast, and it's super environmentally clean, and it looks cool, and it's self-driving, so I want to buy it. So he produces a product people really like and want, which, by the way, is also much, much better for the environment, which you hypocrites claim to care about. But there's a second way. How did he make so much money this week? Well, he sold 550 million shares of stock, and you know what unified every single person who bought that stock?
They all wanted to make money.
They did so voluntarily. Nobody forced them. 550 million decisions of people who said, I would like to purchase at least a share of SpaceX. I want to buy that. And by the way, it's not just gazillionaires. It's lots of moms and pops, lots of ordinary people. And you know what? You and I, we probably don't know this, but you and I are both probably, and most of our listeners are probably SpaceX stockholders too, because many of the purchasers were pension funds, 401ks. So if you're in a widely diversified mutual fund, which most of my retirement savings are in mutual funds, many of them bought SpaceX as part of their portfolio. So the people who purchased, he is literally making Americans rich all across the country. And if you're really good at that, you make a bunch of money too. Leftists hate that. They want to destroy you, and they also want to take the money. They want government in charge of it, and they want the only way you can make money is for government to give you a check every month. So you got to go vote to reelect the Marxists and keep them in power. I want to say to Elon Musk, to Gwen Shotwell, to everyone at SpaceX, congratulations. This was an historic week. God bless capitalism. God bless liberty.
No doubt about it. Take it. Well, don't forget, we do the show Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Go back and download that episode we did with Elon Musk. It's 2 parts, so you grab both. You're going to like that. You can just search it, and easily it'll come up there. And the Senator and I will see you back here on Wednesday morning.